Well, thanks everyone for sharing. I think today's talk, hopefully you all take something from it. It sounds like we're all in different boats but similar waters. So we're going to start with meditation. So if you want to find a comfortable seat, we have another chair. If sitting in a chair is more supportive for you, we have extra cushions too. So feel free to ask whatever way you can sit for 15 minutes. We're going to gently close our eyes if that feels safe. Otherwise, having a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. We want to be upright but at ease, no straining or tension to force some form of a perfect meditation, no such thing. We're going to take a few deep breaths here together, in through the nose, big belly breaths, and exhale. Just allowing ourselves to arrive in these bodies in this moment. Let's take another one. Inhale. Each deep breath, just finding ourselves more connected to our bodies. Last one. Inhale. The meditation will begin and end at the sound of the bell. We'll start with a brief body scan, moving through our body slowly to connect to this present moment. Starting with the top of our head, noticing any tension held in the scalp or temples, and with each exhale, imagining sort of a gentle breeze wash over the top of you, easing the tension. Moving down the face, relaxing the jaw and the tongue. The gentle breeze continuing to flow over you, down the neck and the shoulders and back. And as the breeze moves over points of discomfort or tension, maybe let it linger there. Finding your breath and breathing in and out of these spots. Continuing to move down the arms, the chest, finding a spaciousness in the body as that gentle breeze continues to flow down through the legs and feet, sweeping over the ground under you. Feeling rooted and held by our chair or cushion. Let the breath find its own rhythm. Bringing your attention to the natural rise and fall of your chest. No need to force it to slow down or to speed up. There's no right or wrong pace, so no need to change anything. Just notice. Air is moving in, air is moving out. Simple and ordinary and always shifting. Let the breath remind you that nothing stays still. Each moment arrives fresh and then gives way to the next. Let's begin to widen our attention to noticing other sensations in the body. Maybe warmth or coolness, pressure or ease, and see how they shift from moment to moment. Notice any sounds in the space around you. Each one appears, maybe lingers briefly and then disappears. Notice how our thoughts might be passing through the mind. Some stay longer, some fade quickly. The mind is just doing what the mind does. And whatever arises, allow it to be acknowledged. No judgment. We're not placing a story on it. We're just recognizing this is here right now. Try your best to just acknowledge what's here. We don't need to investigate these thoughts. Why am I cold? Why didn't I do that one thing today? Just notice the thought. Thank you, thought. And then let's set it down and return to the breath. And let's take the next few moments to be a little bit more curious. Is anything sort of calling for your attention? Does it keep coming back to mind? It might be a body sensation or thought or an emotion that we're feeling. And see if, as it arises, can we pause and ask ourselves, do I want to place this down right now? Or do I want to stay and practice with what is here? There's no right or wrong answer. Both are skillful responses. Sometimes it's wise to let something go and return to the steadiness of the breath. Not all things need to be carried at this moment. Other times, it's helpful to remain, to gently observe what might be unfolding, and practicing to be present with what is there. So let yourself try it out. Notice what arises. Choose whether to set it down or stay with it. And whether you're choosing to investigate the thought or if you've returned to the breath, continue to just sense the flow of change as it's occurring, naturally and ongoing. The body is never quite the same from breath to breath. the mind is never exactly in the same spot from moment to moment. And we can rest in this understanding that awareness itself can hold it all. The arising, the passing, the choice to release or to stay. And there's a steadiness in knowing that we don't have to control what comes and goes. We can simply be present, moment by moment, with care. Be aware of what arises. Pause and stay present with what is here. With wisdom, make a conscious choice to stay or set it down. And if all of that just seems far too complicated for this moment, we can return to the breath as our anchor. We'll spend the next few minutes practicing in silence. The meditation will end with the sound of the bell. Gently come back to the space. How does everyone feeling? Hopefully cozy. There's tea on the counter as a reminder if you'd like some. I can read, thank you. So tonight we'll be talking about change. Andrew and I are working on figuring out what a series that we want to be dabbling in maybe over the next month. But until we decide, I said I'll talk about change. The equinox was yesterday, the 21st, which is a time of year where day and night hold almost equal time in length. We enter into the fall season where there's obvious change happening on the trees and the temperature. And this time of year never leaves my body that school is starting. And I have been out of school for a very long time, but I have the urge to go to Staples. Like every time this time of year comes, I want new pens and paper for no reason at all. And this time of year also brings in some introspection and some spiritual reflection. And so I wanted to talk more about that. I want to talk about what did the Buddha say about change? What do we gain to learn from both the awareness of change and also in the difficulties of it? This year has been a season of deep change for me. Andrew mentioned some of it. This whole year has just been like another new thing over and over. And also, like, as I look out into the world in my community and beyond, it's very present, the change that's occurring. Pumpkin spice is back in full force. So lots of new things, and we're heading towards the midterms. So, there's a lot on the horizon, and I want to let change be a teacher for me. And so, historically, change is something that I've struggled with. I don't know if any of you have as well. And so I just wanted to talk about it tonight. So we're going to explore what the Buddha says about change. We're going to talk about what makes approaching change difficult, and how can we maybe shift to start anew, and how can we hold change on the cushion and off the cushion. So what does the Buddha say about change? The Buddha didn't talk directly about the word change, but he talked about impermanence. And in the Dhammapada, which is a collection of sayings of the Buddha in like verse form, he said that all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. And by all conditioned things, he's talking about anything that arises, changes, and then ceases due to cause and condition. So that could be physical bodies, mental states, emotions, thoughts, social structures. And so in short, pretty much all things. The only thing as I was writing this that came to mind that maybe doesn't change is like a Twinkie. Is there like a science study on that? Like Twinkies like don't expire? I'm sure it has an end date, but I don't know it. I just know it lasts a very long time. And so when the Buddha's talking about the last part of that phrase, when one sees with wisdom, one turns away from suffering, it means because we know now the conditioned things, they will arise and then cease. They are impermanent. When we know that and know that things are subject to change, we have the wisdom then to turn away from the craving of those things, that the craving of things to stay the same, to be different, to be better or worse or whatever it may be, all of which causes suffering. And we have the wisdom to make different choices in those moments. So when we can be aware of the present moment, such as like summer is ending, and I love summer. I'm obsessed with the sun and the feeling of warmth, and fall is fun, but it means winter. So like there's all these things that happen for me this time of year. Maybe I can like greet this moment as like, oh, summer, I loved you. I love you in your last moments. And I can choose not to maybe grasp at summer, which would just make my present moment and future moments be ones of suffering, because it's no longer summer. It's going to be fall, and then winter, and then spring, and then summer will come back again. So we know, again, reiterating what he said, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. So knowing that things are impermanent and they are subject to change, I kind of thought like what change isn't. So what is change not? And change or impermanence is not something we can control, which I hate so much. I can't make summer last any longer than I can make my coworkers read my emails, which is never. There's just nothing I can do about that. And attempting to control only ever results in my suffering. So I will ruminate on the thing. I'll try to reason with it, find solutions, fix it. All the while, it's doing what it's going to do regardless of that. And it takes a lot of time and energy and effort that I could be putting somewhere else. And so that doesn't mean that the acceptance of change and impermanence means like passivity. So it doesn't mean like, well, if I can't do anything about it, then I might as well not even try. That is like defeatist, and it lacks awareness of the interconnectivity of us as human beings, right? Like we have talked about here in previous groups about interbeing. So this idea that Thich Nhat Hanh talked about a lot of like, my existence is deeply connected to the existence of everyone else on this earth. And so saying like, throwing my hands up and being like, well, I can't change it, so might as well just like, sorry, Ben can cut that out, swearing. But we do have influence, and the decisions we make matter. And having the wisdom to see and understand this does not mean that we get to control our future, right? So like, we still have active participation in our lives, in our communities, in the world, and those decisions are not going to lead necessarily to the results that I specifically want for myself or my community or the world. But our collective energy is able to shift outcomes, and we see that directly in many ways, right? Like our political system, and maybe in more indirect ways, like if no one bought pumpkin spice lattes, like would they sell them? Probably not, but people do, and it impacts the decisions that other people make, right? So for me, my history with impermanence and change is a bit tumultuous at best. Impermanence for me from a young age meant things like death or abandonment. I lost a father when I was really young. And so I learned to try to be like really prepared, like really hypervigilant, knowing and understanding and finding safety in the knowing and understanding meant that if I knew or if I had all the information, I could make like the right choice, and that would equal like disaster averted. Okay, well, I made the right choice, or I knew the thing, or I prepared the best way, so therefore like the thing isn't going to happen. Wrong. Sometimes it makes a difference, right? And it can lead to maybe different outcomes, but like the saying goes, the only thing constant in life is change. And so regardless of what I do or don't do, I can never predict an outcome. And because of my need to be so hypervigilant, it usually leads to more layers of suffering that can look like, again, rumination, self-deprecating thoughts like, oh, because I didn't do the thing, then that makes me bad. There's like an attachment to worth of like, you know, what I did or didn't do. I wasn't prepared enough. I could have done more. And it all becomes like this big cycle of suffering because I'm uncomfortable with change. I'm uncomfortable with not knowing. And so for me, through this practice of like meditation and therapy and time, I'm learning to have the wisdom that the Buddha spoke about. I can recognize my mind in these cycles when it's happening, as opposed to after the fact or in hindsight, months or years later, being like, oh, that's what was happening. I can recognize it more in the moment. And I say all this to say, like, preparing's not a bad thing. I don't think it's like wrong to be prepared. But my relationship to preparing has always been one to prevent unknown, impermanent outcomes. And that's just causing me suffering. There's a quote from James Baldwin: "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." And so how do we face change? Or what makes facing change hard? It's uncomfortable. It's like, ew, I don't want to, like, why does it have to change? Nothing has to change. It's fine how it's working right now, right? It's uncomfortable to be in spaces of unknown. When something is good, we want more of it. When something is bad, we want nothing to do with it. And I think change sort of lives in the middle. We don't always know if something will be good or bad. So how do we live presently in the space of that like weird uncomfortability? And in a world that sort of feeds off of like instant gratification, right? Like change is a huge stop sign to that. It's like, I want it now and then I have it, right? Like Amazon, buy now, you have it in 2 days. Like that is predictable. You know, you bought the thing's going to come. And when change occurs in that pipeline, it's like that pipeline isn't realistic, right? On Amazon it is. I bought the thing, it's coming. That's something that we kind of know is happening. But in life, when that pipeline is applied to everything, right? Like, well, I did the thing, I worked really hard in school, so that means I'm going to get the job. Or I put all my time and effort and resources and energy into this relationship, so that just means it's going to work out. It's unrealistic, right? Like, that's not how life works. And so change and being comfortable with change and impermanence, it's annoying. It's annoying to like not know. It's annoying to have to like sit with the truth around like things will come and they will go. They won't just come and then stay. And for me, when I travel, and this could be like a block from my house or like across the world, I carry everything on me that might be needed for like any possible situation. Like I have my inhaler, I have some gum, I have a bobby pin, I have a little like medicine cabinet, all for the like just in case, which is like a huge response to like anxiety for me. And again, the like planner, the needing to like prepare for this thing. When I was suffering with like really bad anxiety, like leaving the house, like had a pattern of panic attack. And so if I had all the things with me, it usually meant that like I wouldn't have the panic attack. I have all of those things with me right now, like right here, just in case. And sometimes they come in handy, right? Like someone's like, oh, my head's killing me. I got an Advil. Oh, like my nose is dry. I got a tissue. And that's like good and fine. But sometimes I don't have the thing. And I have found lately that if I forgot the thing, or maybe the thing wasn't allowed, right? Like bag policy, like can't take it in. There's like a sense of freedom that comes with that. With like, I just got to set it all down. I didn't have to have the thing. And shocker, life was going to happen regardless if I had the thing or not, right? Like if I had the stuff with me, the panic attack would still happen. Like it didn't mean causation just because I had the stuff that the thing didn't happen. And so setting it down provides a sense of freedom and a spaciousness in my mind to realize that the grasping to the planning, the grasping to the fear of the unknown isn't always the way. And it lets me set down this idea of myself and this identity of like needing to have it all figured out, right? Like this extra thing that comes with the fear of change is like I find identity in it. I can be the one who's always prepared, or I can be the reliable one, right? And that's not how it always is. And that's liberating. It has been liberating for me to experience that. Terrifying, but freeing in the same way. And so by deeply seeing impermanence, the Buddha says that we loosen clinging and awaken to freedom. He says, whatever is subject to arising is subject to cessation, meaning that whatever comes up, again, his law of impermanence, whatever comes up will also go away. It will end. And so we can find comfort in that. By knowing that all things are impermanent, we can know that the parts that are hard also won't last forever. And so how do we shift, right? Like all of that is like a lot of fear, a lot of clinging and grasping. How do we sort of start to shift that pattern and begin to like enter into a space of not easy, but potentially more freedom, more spaciousness. And so the things that I thought of was like what we practiced in our meditation today. So being aware that it's happening, right? Like change is happening. Can we be present enough to be aware that it's happening in this moment? Can we find some form of acceptance around it? And can we make the choice to set it down if that's the choice we're making? Or are we participating? And so not all things are easy in this part, but we practice it every day in this group, right? It's a practice, learning how to set it down, learning how to be aware, learning how to pause. So it's a practice of awareness. Oh, I'm uncomfortable right now with this thing. I'm uncomfortable with this change. Okay, I'm aware. I don't need to change or fix that. I'm aware. In this moment, I'm just aware that I'm uncomfortable. And then it's a practice of acceptance, right? Barring that it's not like a life or death decision, which I hope you would have the wisdom to know what to do with that. I don't need to fix or solve what's happening right now in this moment in an effort to avoid the uncomfortableness. I can just accept, okay, I'm uncomfortable. And then there's a practice of setting it down to make a choice, the pause, the sort of assessment. This moment is not forever. What can I do with this moment, my life, whatever the thing is that you're setting down or grappling with? Do I have to hold it right now in this moment, or can I set it down? Maya Angelou says, we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. Right? We see the beautiful butterfly, and it's like it had to go through like deep metamorphosis, and probably that doesn't look good, where all of your insides turn to goo and then like reform themselves. Like that's probably quite uncomfortable, maybe a little painful. And change feels like that. It has felt like that for me. It's like, oh, my entire life is being thrown upside down. I've had how many iterations of that through my lifetime where like I had to turn to goo and something came out of it. I don't know if I was a butterfly, but something came from it, you know? And that's tough. But the more we do it, the more we practice with it, it's not tough forever, right? Impermanence. This will be tough now. And sometimes I won't even realize that I'm out of the tough, that maybe I was like grasping onto the tough because it was like what I knew. But actually I've moved so far from it that I'm the one staying there. The tough, the external tough isn't even there anymore. It's just me. And so how do we cultivate awareness of the change and the impermanence on the cushion and off? So in our practice today, we noticed when things arise and when they moment to moment. And in life, we can notice that change, right? On the cushion, we learn to embrace the impermanence by staying with it. And off the cushion, we can do the same. And we find anchors for ourselves. So a lot of you talked about, like, what is your response to change, right? You're like, oh, I'm just doing the thing for now. Or, you know, maybe I lean into my practices that feel good, or my art, or my whatever. It's like those are your tools that you can return to when it's uncomfy. And that's not an avoidance. That's a choice, right? An active choice that you chose to set stuff down to do something else. Audre Lorde said, revolution is not a one-time event, pointing to like change is an ever ongoing process, a lived process. And so it's important to note that there are all different kinds of change. I'm not just talking about difficult change, even though I was pointing to like my fear in my relationship with change. Change can be exciting and joyful, and there can be a lot of happy change. And that can still be hard because it's not maybe what you're used to, what I'm used to. So that can still hold some like scary, but it can be good. There's like good change too. And also good change won't last forever either, right? Like I think of like chewing like a piece of bubble gum and you're like, dang, this tastes good. And then it's like gone in 20 seconds. It's like, I loved that 20 seconds with it. So it's learning to stay present, let go of control, and become aware of the rising and falling of all things. And what the Buddha teaches us is how to remain present through change in life. All things are impermanent. We become more intimately familiar with this truth. We can cultivate the wisdom to be free from suffering. So thank you for being here in your time.